ladies and gentlemen of the audience.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
Dave! 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 Dave!
Dave.
Dave!
Ah.
You! Now that's just hurtful.
That's the fact, Jack!
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Steel Sanctuary Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Ribeiro from SteelSanctuary.com, and I'm here with Trent Ging and the hostage crisis, David Corum. Dave, what's going on? I'm sorry.
We're hanging in there by a thread, but I'm here.
Dave's in the car, coming back from his son's baseball game. He's loving life, enjoying these sacred times.
Double lightning / rain delay in the hot ass sauna sun. It's been fun.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's start out with there's been some rumors about the TJ contract. Me and Trent were talking more before we got on. One report that I saw said he was going to blow away Myles Garrett's contract, and then he said he heard from who was it that you
Ian Rappaport said earlier today.
Not there yet. I got a feeling he's gonna beat Myles Garrett's contract on yearly value. That's what the holdup is.
I'm seeing that there was an article, I can't remember who said it, but there was something about it's not even money. There's another thing holding this up.
What else could it be?
Like, I don't know. Maybe the direction of the franchise. Maybe I don't know.
That's a possibility. I mean,
but
interesting.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, man, could you imagine if he just doesn't like the direction and that's what this really is?
Is there some kind of beef with Aaron? I mean, Aaron was. We're going to get to that too, but Aaron Rodgers was very, pushing for for TJ's contract to be taken care of. So I
don't think it's.
He's been going through this for 10 years. He's worried about it now.
Well, I mean, maybe now he's finally had a fuck enough. I don't know. I'm just saying,
it's possible. It's possible.
Sees the ending coming and wants to get that ring. Maybe
could be.
I can't even imagine what he would be demanding as far as what does he want? Say in the personnel? That's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's no way.
That'll be interesting.
That one's intriguing.
Guys, it's a bad week to be a former Steelers wide receiver. Let's start with George Pickens canceling on the kids. Classic move. At some point, as far as the organizers, and Trent sent us a video about Pro Football Talk going deep into how these guys are kind of not giving people refunds and all this other stuff. So there's no real – the only losers are the kids, basically. But they had to know once he got traded he wasn't going to do this. Like, I could have told you that the day after he was traded. There's no way he's coming back to Pittsburgh to do a camp. You start planning – start refunding money then and there. It's George Pickens. He's not coming back to Pittsburgh.
I like how he initially said, yeah, I'll still be there. And then waits till the week of is like, nah, not happening.
Yeah, that's the part that got me is that he was like, they asked him knowing there's a good chance he's probably not coming. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll be there. Hey, by the way, something came up.
It's typical. It's a young person's thing to do, Someone probably called him and said, hey, you ready for next week? He's like, fuck. I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that.
Wouldn't AB do the same thing too? Wouldn't he be really late or not show up at all or something and stuff? I could have sworn that happened too with him.
I don't remember, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. So I guess Muth stepped up and he's going to do it. But again, like they said on that Pro Football Talk thing, people may not want to. They wanted George Pickens. He's the big star. He's the guy. I'm sure these people should be able to get refunds, but as of now, I guess they've not been offered refunds.
Doubtful.
Yeah, your money's gone.
Well, now that Move's gone, that's
it doesn't make up for it.
That's a great replacement to have. So I think that's fine. There's tons of people that would like to see Freiermuth as well. So.
All right, next on the Steelers wide receiver catastrophe list is Deontay Johnson. Holy smokes, guys. I was telling Trent, I defended this guy over and over and over again over the last 18 months.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no coming back from this. The guy's a freaking moron.
Till week 4, and we're last again in separation, and you're going to be dying for Deontay Johnson to be on this fucking team.
I mean, I can't exactly argue with you on that one. I probably will be.
I'll be 100% honest. Colin and I talked about this on my podcast, and I honestly forgot he was on an NFL roster right now. Like, I actually honestly forgot he was on an NFL roster.
Forgot he was on a roster.
Like, I'm like, I felt like he just kind of disappeared, and then all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, this guy's actually in Cleveland right now. Him and Kenny Pickett are hooked back up. You know, that went so well the first time around.
Right.
And
Let's
then now,
run it back.
Yeah, run it back. And then now he's like, you know, admitting, oh yeah, I just didn't try in practices. I didn't care. Like, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to go into a game when it was 41 degrees outside. I mean, because of course that's frigid temperatures. You know, you can't survive in 41 degrees. Like,
and
dude.
Dave wants that guy back.
You missed it. I said I've been defending him for the last 18 months, and I don't think I can defend him anymore. It's you know the worst part of this? Why would you freaking admit that in an interview? Just don't talk about it.
I know,
Let
right?
it blow over. Like, he thinks it's okay. It's fine. It was 41 degrees. My feet were cold. I wasn't going into a game. What?
Didn't you
Yeah,
got,
but-
in fairness, just to defend him? Sorry, David, I don't mean to talk over you.
You're
Hey,
good. I've been
didn't
through enough today, but go ahead.
Didn't you think that it was kind of, hey, I was cold as in I hadn't played all day. It wasn't that it was cold outside. It was just, hey, I'm cold. You want me to come on and run a route when I haven't played in 3 quarters? I mean, just in his defense, I think that's what he meant to say.
You're
At least I hope
defending
that.
him.
Yeah, you're making fun of me for defending him.
Was it-
You're defending him.
I'm not.
Uh,
I don't want him back. I'm just saying, in fairness to the guy, I mean, I don't think he was saying it was cold outside. I think he was just saying, hey, man, I haven't played all day, and you expect me to go out there and run a route cold?
When I
You
get
did
home
say-
tonight around 11 o'clock, maybe 12, I'm going to have a drink to this tonight.
I'm sorry.
He,
Deontay Tua Johnson out there in 41 degree heat in his, you know, his SEAL suit. Like,
Hey,
Hey, was he-
maybe Miami should pick him up.
was he too cold to go get that fumble? Is that what happened in Cincinnati too? Now
Right,
we're starting to unravel this thing. We got this unraveled now.
Yeah, we're
There we
we're
go.
figuring it out, right?
the whole thing, I don't know what happened to that guy. He was, when he first got here, he was quiet. He was good. Just went about his business, played well, didn't do anything. And then it just turned on a dime. And he became, you know, AB light. And it's been crazy. What happened to him?
Yeah.
You know, running the wrong way, not going after the fumble, not playing.
Is it just a guy that made his millions and just said, fuck it, 0 fucks to give?
I guess so.
And it's not like he made, like, I'm not saying he made hundreds of millions of dollars, but like he made enough to where he's okay.
He's could have made a lot more if he would have just played.
But maybe for some guys it doesn't matter. He's happy with what he got, and now it's whatever.
How much is that guy signing for if he catches a couple balls in the playoffs for Baltimore?
I don't know, but his actions show me a guy just
15
going through the
million a year?
motions. He's just a guy going through the motions, man. His
Yes,
heart's
there's no
not
doubt.
in it.
I mean, let's face it. He banked $18 million in whatever he made
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
I mean, $18 million is a lot of money. I'm pretty sure I could live the rest of my life on $18
Yeah,
million.
no doubt.
Be
Right.
pretty happy.
But you probably left how much on the table? 60,
True.
70, 80 million bucks if he was just a solid citizen?
Just everybody's different, man. But he just shows to me a guy that's just going through the motions and does not care, has no heart in it at all. None.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like the season where he didn't have any or what was that span where he didn't have any
Yeah.
touchdowns over, like, what was it, 20 games or something like
Yeah.
that, where he didn't
Yeah.
have a single touchdown.
Was it still
Something
like that.
week?
He was just getting brutalized in the media, and it was like he checked out. Like, it was like that just checked him completely out,
That's a
and
good
he's
point.
never been the same since.
Because at
That's a
the
good
time,
point.
you couldn't come out against the Pitt Messiah at QB. We can't do that.
Yeah, but if you remember too, he got that when he did actually score a touchdown, it was a blowout, and he's celebrating, and then he gets just torched for that on top of the fact that he wasn't scoring touchdowns. Like,
Yep.
I mean, it was. I mean, I don't know. It felt like he just checked out after that point.
If when he's right, when Deontay Johnson's right and playing at his best, top 20 wide receiver, right? At least top 15.
I think you could.
He's
I
in there.
think you can make. I think you can make that argument. I do. When
He's an
in
elite route runner.
At his peak, he's an elite route runner. I don't disagree.
I think he's top.
I think at one time he was elite.
That's what I mean. When he's right,
Yeah.
when his head's in the game.
Right.
3 years ago. So
Well, he's not old. I mean, he's still in his 20s. If he
I
kept
mean-
his head on straight,
he's
I was
the
gonna say that
Darius
you've set the
Slay
bar
of
for
wide
age
receivers.
requirements when they're going downhill. So just let
He's
us
not
know
there.
if he's
He's not
under.
there.
Okay, Roger that. All right.
just look at the three before the numbers start on their age.
Okay.
Then that'll
All right.
clue you in.
All right.
Hey,
Good.
he plays like he's 76 years old.
There's something wrong with him, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's off the rails. It just doesn't make any sense. And to round things out, is AB really out of the country? Is that really a thing?
Yes.
Maybe.
And
Cam
honestly,
Hayward said, "See you back when you get back in the country."
it's a smart move.
Let's hope it's not extradition for his sake.
I don't know if he's smart enough to find a non-extradition country. I don't think that's within the scope of his abilities at this point.
That's right.
No.
He was talking shit to Cam Hayward too, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a pretty mean but funny tweet.
That's a big dude to be talking shit to.
Yeah, it's
Big
true.
dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That I can see how he gets captured if he's a non-extradition country. Somebody broadcasts like a local party in a country neighboring wherever he's at, where there is extradition. He'll be showing up right there and just taking in right away.
Yeah, it's not hard to outsmart AB.
No.
They got the bounty hunters out looking for him.
That all stems from the gun incident at I think it was a fight he went to or something.
Yeah.
What is in the water in the wide receiver room in Pittsburgh? What's going on? What are they
You
feeding
guys
these
talk
guys?
about this Pickens thing?
Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
I personally, I blame both sides. I actually blame Pickens less than the company. I really agree with Mike Florio's take on the whole thing that Trent posted. I mean, why didn't the company just immediately cancel it when he was traded instead of, hey, would you stay? Or at least say, hey, in the event this guy don't show up because he got traded.
Mhm.
I mean, I think both suck. Both sides are wrong for it, but hey, great job to Zach's buddy Pat Fryermuth for stepping up like that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's what I said off the top. Like, as soon as he got traded, we all knew he wasn't going to go to this thing. We knew it. So, stop making plans then. What else do we have? Aaron Rodgers interview on McAfee. To be honest, guys, I couldn't get through it. He's so boring, and he's trying so hard not to be controversial. It's just, I love Aaron. I can't wait to see him play for the Steelers, but that interview to me was boring.
In a quarter of a mile.
It was. I think that's by design. I mean, I think like he's trying to keep this, like he's trying to make this city like fall in love with him and try to keep the controversy out of it. And it seems like he's following that Russell Wilson playbook Russell Wilson did last year. He had a reputation of like maybe he's too good for Pittsburgh. He endeared himself to the city. Like it kind of feels like Aaron's trying to follow that same path.
And it's smart. It's a smart move. Don't make any waves. He said a lot of nice things about Cam Hayward, and he loves Mike Tomlin, apparently.
He glowed about the whole damn team. He tried to remember as many names as he possibly could bring up.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, this guy is really trying. Like, really trying.
You know how you know he's lying? He liked Connor Hayward, too. So Connor Hayward's a Swiss Army knife, and then I'm like, all right.
You're like, all right,
time to get off script a little bit, Aaron. Let's go.
That's enough. We're actively
Come on,
looking
buddy.
for his replacement. Let's take it easy.
He's mentoring you guys, boy, Will Howard there.
You damn right.
Hall of Fame.
A-plus draft
He needs to
pick.
know.
A-plus draft pick. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame quarterback, mentoring the future Hall of Fame quarterback. That's all this is.
Wow. It's like perfect harmony.
It's
Everything's coming together.
It's like a
Aaron
Disney
Rodgers to
movie in
Will Howard.
production. It's going to be amazing.
When we look back on this, it'll be Ben Roethlisberger, a little blip in time, then Aaron Rodgers, then Will Howard, and we're right back into 10, 11, 12 Super Bowls.
Yep.
Right? And people say I'm negative. What are they
Absolutely.
talking about? What are they talking about? Are we got anything else? I want to just talk about this quickly. I saw at least 3 or 4, semi-big accounts trying to tell me that Calvin Austin is the second coming. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if these people are brainwashed.
Second coming of Willow from the 80s. A little
I don't know.
short magician guy.
Dude.
We don't need wide receiver 2. We have Calvin Austin. What? What do we?
It's the same song and dance every spring.
Yeah.
I was talking to a Packers fan who was way down on Aaron Rodgers, and I was like, "Look, you need to understand something. I get why Green Bay, you might be bitter about Aaron Rodgers and he's a diva and blah blah blah. Although no teammate ever said that. I said, but at the same time, if you think about the quarterback play we've had, and then he was like, "Oh, he only throws to one receiver he likes." Okay, you don't put up those numbers with that, but let's just say that's true. That means he'll only throw to DK Metcalf, and who gives a fuck who's wide receiver 2 because he ain't throwing to him.
I don't
Which
know.
I don't believe, by the way.
I don't get what these people are. I know we haven't seen good wide receiver play in 7-8 years, like 2 more than 1 at a time, but please stop talking yourself into Calvin Austin. He's a gimmick 3rd wide receiver at best. Period.
Yeah.
If you're expecting any more than that.
If he gets you 600 yards this year, it's a really good season for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had 540, roughly 538 or something like that last year. Like, he led the team in touchdowns, which is insane.
Crazy.
But like receiving touchdowns, but like you're better to put your faith in Roman Wilson, who's never stepped on a football field, than Calvin Austin.
Yeah.
At least he's built the right way.
Look, if Calvin Austin gets 600-700 yards receiving, that is actually a pretty good wide receiver too in the NFL. Look, I believe the one thing I believe about Austin, if you want to not make him a gimmick player, is he's got to be Randall Cobb in this offense. He's got to run drag routes, and Aaron's got to hit him on the run and let him turn it up and make something happen. Now, the good part of that is Aaron Rodgers is the perfect quarterback to do that. The bad part of that is the first time he runs that drag route and turns it upfield, he's going to get killed. So, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but he's 4'3".
He keeps getting smaller.
In high heels.
He did have a couple touch, and it was Kazora, I think, that started this whole thing with, he had, 2 or 3 40-yard plus touchdown receptions, and that's more than, there was a handful of people that have done it. And well, that's the thing about him. He's a gadget guy. He's not consistent. He'll have a game where he's got 2 big catches for long, and then you won't see him for 3 games. So that's not how you build a wide receiver too. That's not how that works. And sure, he'll end up with like a respectable amount of yards at the end of the season, but it's like, I don't know. It's not what I think of when I think of a second wide receiver. I don't know.
He's still going to play out of the slot no matter who's here, like, which is okay. I mean, that's where he should be.
Yes.
But it's like, I don't know. He was actually the guy I picked last year to be the breakout player. So I don't know if you want to consider me right about that at 500 something yards, but like for him, that was a breakout season. And I think there's more. He needs to watch Tyler Lockett's tape and understand it to avoid exactly what Bob's talking about. How many times do you see Tyler Lockett about to get hit and he just lays down?
Yeah.
Calvin Austin needs to learn to do that. Like, you are going to get killed in this league at 150 pounds.
Yeah,
Like,
there's no shame in that. When
just
you're
lay
his
down.
size. Yeah, there's no shame in that. Just do it. Just self-preservation. We're not expecting you to break tackles, Calvin Austin.
So worst
Make a couple
case
big
scenario,
plays.
you're okay with Austin in a slot and the chiseled God himself in wide receiver 2 outside.
Yeah, I mean, who else is there? It's not
Bob,
Bobby
I'm seeing a
Tree's
lot
there.
of different faces, but no words. Use your words.
Yeah, I mean, the same guys are still there. I mean, we know that Gabriel Davis from Zach was a possibility. We know that something could very well is probably going to happen with Green Bay. I don't know if they're going to trade him to us, but more than likely they're going to trade one of those guys. So there's still guys out there. There's still guys out. It's too early to panic, and we don't know what Russell or Roman Wilson's going to. Russell Wilson. We know what he's going to look like. Maybe he's tall enough to be in our wide receiver room. And Roman Wilson could be great. Rodgers is going to make all these guys look a lot better. I feel like he's going to walk up to the line. He's going to diagnose. He's going to get rid of the ball quickly. He's going to make the offensive line better. He's going to make these receivers look better than they are. And he's been doing it his whole career. I mean, some of the guys who left Aaron and went other places, said, fuck it, I got to follow wherever Aaron's going. I got to get back with him.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before. He's the best quarterback we've had since Ben.
Yeah.
And it's not close.
I think I think he's really out to prove something. I think the Jets last season left a really bad taste in his mouth. And I also think all this, hey, you threw for 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns. You're a bum. I think he's thinking, okay, I got something for your ass this year.
It does concern me. I know you guys are going to kill me for this, but it does concern me. He's talking about retirement.
Yeah.
That sends alarm bells off to me. It just makes me nervous.
You know who else talked about retirement before he won the Super Bowl? John Elway. He was done. I'm finished. And they thought after they won it, they begged him to come back, and he won 2 in a row.
Yep.
I don't necessarily know that I worry too much about the retirement talk, because I think it's, number one, it takes that conversation off the table for the season. The players aren't going to have to answer questions about that. Aaron's not going to have to answer questions about that. It's already out there. He's threw it out there. And you know what? If he comes back, he comes back. But it's easier to change your mind and say I'm coming back than to answer that same question over and over and over every single week. So I don't think it's a negative, in my opinion.
I think what saves us with this retirement talk is the fact the way things finished for him with the Jets. I think that's what gives him motivation to finish off strong. It's different from say he was somebody who just won the Super Bowl recently, right? Okay, he did it. Then there's going to be no motivation really. This is different. It was a disaster with the Jets. So I think it's more this time he's got more to prove as opposed to someone who just won it. And I think that's what's saving us from having this issue with him. Is he going to go through the motions? Is he already gone, mentally, that kind of thing?
Shower Curtain asks, does anyone think Rodgers changes his mind after 1 year? I think it's totally possible. Depending on how the season goes. Holy crap. I could totally see it.
Yeah, and John follows it up with, hey, this is the key.
Yeah.
If he stays upright, he doesn't take a bunch of hits, and this is a very young offensive line, and now all of a sudden at the end of the year, okay, hey, yeah, maybe we did draft in the 20s, but we got the 5th or 6th guy on the list who's going in the first round next year. Okay, I'll come back for one more year because I know I'm not going to get. Look, Brady only came back because he thought Tampa Bay could protect him. He wasn't coming back to get his ass beat.
Yeah.
He ended up 8-9, but I think Aaron Rodgers, if he really felt like, hey, we win a playoff game, we're a step away, we're a receiver away, I think he would come back.
That only one Super Bowl has got to be a motivator for him too. That's kind of. That keeps him out of the class of a lot of guys, right? I mean, having only won one Super Bowl.
I always hear that, but you know who doesn't get that shit? Marino. Everybody, they hold it against him a little bit, but Marino was great. Marino was great.
I think that's brought up every time we talk about Marino that he hadn't won a Super Bowl.
Right, but he still gets listed as one of the best quarterbacks, and all of a sudden we penalize Aaron Rodgers because he only won one. Oh, Marino didn't win fucking any.
I kind of
That's
agree
gotta
with
bother
Bob on this one, honestly, though. Like in some respects, but like at the same time, do you think people talk about Montana and Brady the same way if they don't have all the rings?
No.
Could Aaron Rodgers be in that class if he had 3-4 rings?
Yeah, 100%.
Because I mean, I think that might be a separator for him. Because I don't think you put him there right now because he doesn't have the rings. If you had a couple, he's in a different class of conversation.
Yeah.
It's
And
definitely something that's got to bother him. I mean, Ben's got 2, Eli's got 2, you know, the other guys that have multiple.
Ben should really have 4. I mean, you got to think the Aaron Rodgers Super Bowl. Okay, if Pouncey doesn't get hurt, I do think we win that game because that one interception that where Legursky got pushed back into him. I think that game's a totally different game if we don't get so far behind, and I still think we win that game if Mendenhall doesn't fumble. But if they hadn't got rid of Arians, there's a lot of ifs and buts. But you got to figure, not even halfway through his career, he could have got one more. And if Ben was 3-0, I'm sorry, but we're not. We're having the "is Ben the greatest of all time" conversation.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it definitely a third one would have put him in another class, another rung up the ladder, I think. And I mean, it's 2-1 in Super Bowls, went to 3. He's up there. I don't know if you can put him.
Yeah,
I don't think he'd ever get to
3-0
the. Yeah, I don't think he still would have been in the Brady class. That guy in Montana, those 2 guys are just another level above everybody else in my eyes.
One thing about Ben is a lot of people don't realize, his statistics are ridiculous. I mean, most 500-yard games, top 5 in passing, top 10 in touchdowns. And if you factor this in, the best fourth quarter comeback quarterback in the history of the NFL is Ben Roethlisberger. Manning and Brady have more comebacks, but they also played a lot more games than Ben did.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he's right up there.
Yeah.
He's not taking a backseat to too many quarterbacks in the history of this league.
And maybe he's taking a backseat to the guy who's now going to play quarterback for us because he beat him heads up. He wins that game. You start to really question if Aaron Rodgers was 0-1 in Super Bowls, he probably with the 4 MVPs, but then you really start to question some things.
Yeah, he definitely needed that one for some kind of validation because he never made it back. So, yeah, he never even went back to the Super Bowl, right? And those are some pretty good Green Bay teams over the years that he couldn't get over the hump. So,
do you think, like, if you look at Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers, would you put Aaron Rodgers ahead of Peyton Manning if he has 2 Super Bowls?
I put him ahead of him now.
It's
I wouldn't. I would put Manning ahead.
That's a good question. I have to think about
one with 2 different franchises, even if he was kind of carried the last one. Like,
yeah,
had a historic season right before that, though. Like, I think that's a hard argument to make that Aaron can pass him up without the 2nd Super Bowl.
I'm sure that motivates him. I'm sure it does, because he, that just one Super Bowl that lumps him in with some, was it Trent Dilfer won one? There's a couple of really bad quarterbacks that just won one Super Bowl, so he wants that 2nd one. I'm pretty sure that's a huge motivator for him.
John makes a good point about Marino. I mean, I'm not questioning Marino's greatness. I mean, he ran up against a buzzsaw the only Super Bowl with the San Francisco, and he kind of got into the Shula, doldrums that very much are what the Tomlin doldrums are to me right now. Is okay, we're just good enough. Yeah, he was a great player, but the only reason I say that is because every time I hear, people, Peyton Manning cerebral, Peyton Manning this, he lost a lot of times to Brady. I get it. But the one thing you always hear, all the football guys, the best thrower of the football we've ever seen is Aaron Rodgers. It used to be Marino. Now everybody says Rodgers. And with that arm talent, you know, who knows? Maybe he wouldn't have been able to handle Marvin Harrison and Edgerrin James and Reggie Wayne and Dallas Clark. But if you look at kind of what he had in Green Bay for the second half of his career from 11 to 20, yeah, he probably should have won a couple, but bottom line is he never had playmakers like Peyton Manning had playmakers.
Yeah, Peyton Manning had a good squad and a good coach. And
should we blame Matt LaFleur for a couple of those though? Because I mean,
I agree.
He really cost them at least 2 NFC Championship games.
He should have beat Tom Brady heads up in that championship game. That when they played, and they threw the ball to our good friend Scotty Miller, all 3'7" of them. They don't complete that pass before, but even then, LaFleur was an idiot. Why didn't you go for it? I didn't get that.
Yeah, I mean, there was the one game I remember he took the ball completely out of Aaron's hands and tried to pound the ball against the best run defense in the NFL. And you're like, what are you doing? Like, throw the ball. They had no one to cover anybody. And then the very next season, they did the complete opposite. He tried to throw against the best passing defense in the league. And it was clearly a better option to run the ball more. And I don't know. I think LaFleur is a little overrated, in my opinion.
I agree with you on LaFleur. I mean, I think he's gotten better. The last couple of years, they've been really good. But yeah, sometimes. And just to go back to Marino for a second, anybody who watched him play, to me, he had the greatest arm talent I've ever seen. Better than Elway. I think better than Aaron Rodgers. That dude just could sling it. It was incredible.
Elway might have the strongest arm I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But he didn't have
But Marino had that
Rodgers
quick release. You couldn't get near him. He would just flick it, and he was incredible. All right, let's bring it back to some Steelers stuff. We want to do our all-time defensive draft here. You guys ready?
Yeah, is David coming back?
No, he's not coming back. I have his list 1 through 20, so I'll just when it's his turn, I'll give his pick.
Okay, who's picking first?
Who wants to go first? Bob?
Okay, I'll go for. I'll take the first pick.
Last man in, first pick in.
Yeah.
Okay. It's Mean Joe Green all day long. You can't have a Steelers defensive draft without Mean Joe being the number 1 pick. I
agree.
Turned the franchise around. Cornerstone guy. One of only 3 Steelers got his retired number. It's Mean Joe. I mean, I don't think you could say enough. Plus an iconic Coke commercial. What else could you ask for?
That's what put him over the edge, the Coke commercial. All right, Trent, you go next. You got the second pick. We'll do Snake. We'll come back and forth.
All right, I'll go with a controversial pick then. I'm going to take TJ Watt.
Ooh, number 2.
All-time, and tied for the all-time NFL sack record, just crushing the all-time sack record for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if you think about the lineage of guys at outside linebacker that we've rolled through this door, for this guy to be dominating that category here, I mean, we have a ton of Hall of Famers, and this guy is standing above everybody else in that category. So I'm going TJ Watt.
Okay, number 2. Surprise one there. I'll go third, and I'll give Dave's the fourth. You left Jack Lambert for me, so I got to take him. I mean, when I was a kid, I'm dating myself now, but that was by far my favorite player. Just so accomplished. You know, he played into the early 80s too, right, Bob? He was like, he played that.
I want to say he retired. It was either 83 or 85.
He played that AFC Championship game against the Dolphins in Marino. He played in that game.
Yeah, that was 84.
Yep. I mean, if you're doing like a Mount Rushmore of Steelers, Lambert, Green, probably TJ too.
Might still be the face of the defense. I mean, and he's been retired for almost 50 years.
Yep. All right, so for Dave, I'll take his next highest guy. He had Troy Polamalu third on his list. So we'll give that. Troy's my favorite, one of my favorite Steelers of all time. It's the only jersey I own. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal player. Just throw on his highlight reel. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to hold the judgment because I want to make sure I get my guys, but there's a couple guys I'd put.
It's killing him.
Yeah, there's
It's
a couple
killing him.
guys I'd put ahead of Troy, but yeah, definitely. I mean, he was great. He was the key cog of the tween teams. That's what I call them. Super Bowl run.
I'm torn. So I had Joe Green first, Jack Lambert second, and 3 and 4 are tough for me. I waver between Mel Blount and Rod Woodson. I'm going to take Mel Blount.
Are we going to give David's other pick?
Oh, I should have done 2 for him, right? Shit.
Yep.
My bad. He had Jack Ham fourth, so Troy Polamalu and Jack Ham.
Yeah.
And I do Mel Blount. I mean, they changed rules for this guy. Multiple All-Pros, multiple Pro Bowls. Probably the best. Well, then again, we can have a debate between him and Rod Woodson, who's the best corner in Steelers history. I'm sure Bob's got opinions.
Mel Blount to me is the best cornerback in NFL history. And I don't even think that's a controversial take. What you got to remember about that guy is he was 6'3" and ran a 4.40 in the 1970s. Could you imagine? And Ben's talked about this on his podcast. He probably wouldn't even play corner. They'd have him as an edge rusher. He was so much bigger than everybody else. And bottom line is, if he doesn't beat the shit out of Drew Pearson in Super Bowl 10, there is no rule change. They changed the rules because America's team got beat up and Mel Blount did the punishment on Drew Pearson.
I'm not going to argue with you. He was fantastic. I don't know about best cornerback in the history of the league. I think
Deion's got to be there.
As much as I can't stand him, Deion Sanders.
Nope, and I'll tell you why. And Deion's top 3 to me. And I'll tell you why I know on Deion. He can't tackle. Mel Blount was a major force on the football field. If he hits you, if you ever get a chance, look up Mel Blount's hits. And Mark Madden, as much as we all maybe don't like Mark Madden, in one of the NFL, look backs talked about Mel Blount and tells the story. This was it's not a true story. It didn't really happen, but this was a rumored true story in the 70s that Mel Blount killed the guy on the field. That guy was Cliff Branch. He didn't actually kill him, but he did pile drive him right in the middle of the football field. I mean, literally looked like a pile driver, flipped him on his head.
Yeah. You said in your top 3, it's Blount, Sanders, and who?
Rod Woodson.
Okay.
I take both Steelers corners over him.
Rod Woodson at the time. Well, all right, let's get to Trent's pick because we're gabbing too much here.
Rod Woodson was my next pick, actually.
All right, there you go. We can talk about Rod Woodson then. In his prime.
Yeah, he was as good as gets. Turnover machine. He was a turnover creating machine, versatile guy. Learns to move to safety later in his career to prolong his career. I don't know how you argue against Rod Woodson. That dude was as good as it gets.
Good returner to just all-around athlete.
Yeah.
And the Steelers hardballed him on every contract. Even when his rookie, he held out. It's stupid. Dave said Van Jefferson was top Steelers on Rushmore. Oh, God. If I ever say that, send the people with the white jackets for me, please.
Yes.
Send them quickly.
All right, so my pick is I have beat this drum since I started writing about the Steelers a few years ago. L.C. Greenwood. L.C. Greenwood should be a Hall of Famer. He should have been the MVP of Super Bowl 10. He sacked Roger Staubach 4 times in that game. That's why they won. He was the Steelers' all-time leading sack person all the way up until T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward passed him. Okay? Our uniform, the black and gold, you're the sack leader for almost 50 years. Not only do you belong in a Hall of Fame, but you certainly belong on this list. L.C. Greenwood, one of my favorite guys all time. in fairness, you guys have picked my top 5 already, so LC's down around 6-7 for me. But I gotta go with my man LC.
I agree with at 9. Trent, what do you got?
Oh,
you get that one, right?
I
Oh,
get
yeah, you got
I
that
get a
one.
wraparound.
I'm sorry.
I was really kind of torn on this between two guys, and kind of like we talked about on our Hall of Fame, I'm going to go Greg Lloyd here because I still think he was the most intimidating Steeler who ever put on the uniform, and that's high praise considering Jack Lambert is probably one of my favorite players of all time. I think if Lambert and Lloyd were standing on the field at the same time, the other team would just walk off and say, "We quit."
All right. Trent?
We're going on an outside linebacker run here. I'm going James Harrison.
That was going to be my next pick.
I love me some James Harrison.
Yeah, me too, brother. Me too. He lost me for a little while when he went to the Patriots, but I'm back.
I'm back. All in.
Yeah. He lost me for a little while. I was like, he's dead to me. But now I'm back. That's a good. I mean, you can't argue. I think we talked about this from the Hall of Fame thing. Those 3, 4, 5 seasons were among the best I've ever seen a linebacker play. I mean, I don't think you can play the position any better than he did.
No.
For those 3, 4 years.
Yeah.
Just peak terror. I'm up. Let me see. Let me flip through my list here. You guys have gone. I'm going to have to say Andy Russell, even though I never really saw him play. I think we went over this before. He's got multiple All-Pros. He was part of that early Super Bowl success for the Steelers in the 70s. I don't think you can do this list and get too far down without putting Andy Russell in there. Again, totally. I can't tell you I ever saw him play. I've seen highlights, obviously. But definitely up there in Steelers lore.
Yeah.
All right, let me go to Dave's list here. See if he's got anybody left. He's got Donnie Shell next highest on his list. Hard-hitting safety. Shell had 5-time Pro Bowler and 4-time Super Bowl champion. He's one of those 70s guys that doesn't get talked about enough, right? Kind of gets left out.
I had him on my list.
I love Donnie Shell. Don't get me wrong. This isn't disparaging a Steelers Hall of Famer, but I'm sorry on that team. LC and then Andy Russell. Donnie Shell, undrafted free agent, great story. But LC and Andy Russell should be in over Donnie Shell. When they named him as the 75th anniversary guy, I was like, or that whatever they did with the big Hall of Fame class a few years ago, I was really disappointed he was the Steeler.
Yeah. All right, for Dave's next pick, let's see where he is here. He has Ernie Stotner, 9-time Pro Bowler, Hall of Fame, 50s All-Decade team. Again, not a person that we've ever seen play, but again, another guy that
got his jersey retired.
Yeah, does he? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I was not ready for someone to take that one. I had that one sitting, waiting.
Yes.
Damn you, Dave.
Dave does his homework.
Damn
you got to give him that. All right, I'm up again. Let me see here. I'm going to go with Levon Kirkland. Boys, a 280-pound middle linebacker. He was incredible. I
saw a video on him. He said he was actually playing at over 300 at times.
We interviewed him last year for the pod, and he told some great stories about those 90s teams. He did say that everyone was scared of Greg Lloyd, but that they were all terrified of Greg Lloyd.
Yeah.
He didn't play as long as some of these other guys didn't have the accolades, but man, he was such a freak out there. He would roll back in the coverage and cover tight ends at 280 or 300. He stopped the run. Him and Chad Brown were a dynamic combination inside linebacker for the Steelers for a long time. So I'm going my man Levon Kirkland.
Interesting.
Trent, I believe you're up again.
Did we get Dave?
Yeah, we did 2 for
did,
Dave,
we
right?
got
I
it.
did Stotner
Okay.
and-
All right.
I did Stotner and
I'm going to go with another guy that I don't think gets talked about quite a lot throughout the history of this team, and I know he did a lot after he left. Kevin Green, for me, is another guy that probably doesn't get talked about as much as he probably should.
I want to talk about him because he only played, 3 seasons for the Steelers? Does that disqualify him from... It's a really, really short time. But I loved him, and he was a very talented pass rusher. There's no doubt about it.
He's key cog in Super Bowl 30. I think Trent's dead on here. Even though he only played the 3 years, they were 3 really good years.
They were.
Crazy productive years. Yeah.
He was one of the best pass rushers in the league all time. Isn't he up there top 3 in sacks? He might have fallen a little bit. But I know at one time he was.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal player. I mean, here and then, he got a ton of success after he left, obviously. But, at some point, you got to recognize this dude was really freaking good.
Yeah, he really was. All right, Bob, you're up.
All right, so there's a lot of good players off the list, but here's another guy who I really think should be a guy that we talk about in a Hall of Fame conversation. It's Carnell Lake.
Yes.
Carnell Lake was an outstanding safety. He was an outstanding corner and could play both easily. When I look at Minka, and I think you should be Carnell Lake, and not that Minka of his first 2 years was great.
Yeah.
Last couple haven't been so hot. Lake was really good. I penalized him a little bit because he did some really good work when he left the team, sort of like Rod Woodson. But Lake was one of the best safeties in football. Unfortunately, he played kind of the tail end of Ronnie Lott's career. I mean, there were a lot of really good safeties in that era, so I think he gets overlooked. But his versatility was amazing.
He played corner in that Super Bowl year, right? Because Woodson was out the whole season.
That's exactly right.
Yep. He was on my list too.
Yeah, I really like Carnell Lake. Before I do my 5th guy, and somebody else might take him, I was really torn. I kind of wanted to go Joey Porter here, but
He's on my list. I'll tell you that. I don't know. I won't tell you where, but Peasy's on my list.
This is gonna sound strange. He's never gonna get Hall of Fame consideration. He's not a Hall of Famer, but I think he's really overlooked as one of the best cover guys, especially of his era. I'm taking Ike Taylor here. I like me some Ike Taylor. Okay. He was the number 1 corner on 3 Super Bowl teams. Maybe he wasn't still the number 1 corner in the last one, but it didn't stop him from being there. And frankly, if Ike Taylor could catch the fucking ball, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, for sure.
He would be, 100%.
No doubt. 100%.
And Ike, if you're watching, we love you, buddy. But
catch the damn ball.
Catch the damn ball. But hey, we appreciate you shutting Chad Johnson's mouth over, or Ocho Cinco, or whatever the hell his name is now.
He shut him down so hard he had to change his name. So people forgot about him.
He made him stop doing that list. He was like, that list of the, hey, how'd you do against Ike Taylor? What list? What are you talking about?
All right, Trent, what do you got?
All right. This one might be more of a nostalgia pick than anything. I'm going to go with Cam Hayward.
I was wondering when Cam Hayward's name was going to be called.
I love Cam Hayward. I've loved Cam Hayward since he was in college. He's captain of the defense. Been the face of this team now since Ben left. I mean, he's got a lot of numbers to kind of back up what he's done. I love Cam Hayward.
And you can't argue with Cam Hayward's got to come off the list some way around here. He's done it for so long. He's been so good for so long that he's worked his way up into that upper echelon of Steelers' great defensive players. No argument from me. And I'm not the biggest Cam Hayward fan in the world, but he's been pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I'm up. I'm going Joey Porter Jr. I loved.
Junior?
No, I mean senior. Sorry. So used to say junior.
I heard Junior. I'm
Whoa.
just throwing it out there.
Whoa.
Put it on the list.
That might be my worst faux pas in my entire podcasting career. Senior was one of my favorite Steelers of all time. They shot me in Denver. The whole thing, the bravado, the fights. I firmly believe that he intimidated the entire Seahawks offense in that Super Bowl. What was that tight end's name that everyone was worried about? And he kept telling them
Wasn't
to
it
Seattle.
Tillman? I thought
He talked so much about
Jeremy
that guy.
Tillman?
He had an
Yeah.
awful Super Bowl. And he had a good and Joy Port had a good Super Bowl in his own right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not as good
he
as
is-
Hines Ward,
No,
but still good.
Right.
he is right up there with my favorite Steelers of all time. And he doesn't get enough credit. You're right, Bob.
Yeah.
For what he did in his time. All right, let me go to Korob's list and see if he's got anybody left. He's got. Let's see.
Oh, yes. Greg nailed it. Thank you, Greg. Jeremy
Stevens. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I like Greg's other call out too, honestly. I didn't think he'd make the list, but I like the call out before that.
James Ferry. I was wondering if anybody would
was
have. He's not
tempted.
on my list, but
Mhm. That was a good call out.
If we were going another round, I guarantee you he would be there.
Dave did some digging on his list. I'll give him credit. Jack Butler, 4 Pro Bowls, Hall of Fame, all 50s decade team.
I had him behind Mike Wagner on my list.
Mike Wagner is
Yeah.
one we've kind of skipped that.
I think the Steelers won 11 games in the 50s.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he wasn't a good player. I mean,
Oh, no.
that franchise was a shithole at that time, so can't blame
Yeah.
him for that. And Dave had Mike Wagner on his list next high
There you
up. 4-time Super Bowl, 2-time Pro Bowl, NFL interception co-leader, Pittsburgh Pro Hall of Fame for Mr. Wagner.
Are we going one more round?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
So it's back to me.
Maybe James Ferrier will make this list.
Yeah, maybe. Should we give some Casey Hampton love?
Nobody gave Casey Hampton love.
Don't take
I'm
my
gonna
guy.
I'm gonna take Casey Hampton.
Big
One of the
snap.
best nose tackles in team history.
Yeah.
Got to be on the list. Got to be
Maybe
on the
the
list.
best nose tackle.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I could be torn on this one. I'm gonna go Aaron Smith.
I had him on my list. I had him on my list too.
I like Aaron Smith. I was torn between him and another end, much older end.
I got a couple edges on my list that I didn't use. All right, Bob, you wrap it up.
Boy, there's two guys who I'm kind of torn on. I kind of want to go Ferrier, but
You can't put Corey Trice on this list, Bob.
I absolutely could, but I'm not going to. Dwayne Woodruff is another guy who, he's a big part of the 2 Super Bowl teams late in the 70s. But I'm going to go a forgotten guy who was the glue of the 1980s defenses, who
I know what you're gonna say.
frankly deserved better than what he got. Robin Cole.
Oh, not who I thought you were going to say. Go ahead.
Oh, who did you think I was?
I thought you were going Merriweather.
Merriweather was a great player. But Robin Cole, middle of the defense, he kind of stepped into the Lambert role and then he transitioned into the 3-4 very well on the inside. And man, that guy could hit. That guy could really hit. I don't think he would translate to any other era of Steeler football. I just wish I wish Chuck Noll had been forced to change right after the AFC Championship game, and then maybe Cole gets a little further in the playoffs. So one of my all-time favorite guys in the 80s. I mean, my favorite 80s guy was Frank Pollard, but Robin Cole is right there.
Dave's asking if we'd said Greg Lloyd. Look who's to my left.
Greg Lloyd.
The biggest Greg Lloyd fan in the world. Are you kidding me?
I know, right? He was my
Any
third
names
pick.
that we left out that you want to throw a shout out? I got to look at my list. Merriweather's on my list.
Little shock, Jarvis Jones didn't make the list. Jarvis Jones, I mean,
I'm sorry, Trent. Who was the last pick for you?
Aaron Smith.
Aaron Smith. Yeah, that's a guy who was, Merriweather is certainly a guy.
I had Dwight White as another name, another older edge guy. I thought I was surprised he didn't sneak on the list a little bit. Bill Dudley, another older name.
Jason Gilden's fourth on the all-time Steeler sack list. He was up there at one point. 131 career sacks.
Bullet Bill Dudley, which if you've never read the book Starless Steelers, their one playoff appearance, definitely go read that book. It's a great read. But he was more of an offensive guy, but he did play defense. He was a two-way, but he's certainly much more known for his offensive prowess. But Trent's right. I mean, he was an all-pro kind of guy.
I had him. So Colin and I when we did our draft, we drafted by position. I had him as like one of my backup corners. So I had him in my top four.
Here's a guy who only played one, I think maybe 2 seasons in Pittsburgh, but had one of the great seasons in the 60s. Eugene Big Daddy Lipscomb had a phenomenal year. The year we went 9-5 and almost made the playoffs.
We said Kevin Green. Dave,
I got you, Dave. I got you, buddy.
You guys were on the same wavelength for sure for this one. I'm skimming through my list. I think I got everybody. I had Merriweather on there. I think that's everybody I had.
Do we give Minka any credit for those 1 or 2 great years?
That's a tough one, bro. That's a tough one.
He's a good player, but he just like when you talk about the all-time greats of this defense, like I can't get there yet. Like
2 seasons basically.
Kevin Green had monster seasons and was very multifaceted. Minka had 2 really good seasons. One of them was the trade season, and then dropped off the map. It's not like he left the team; like he just dropped off the map.
The trade season was one of the best seasons I've ever seen a defensive player play because he really won 2 or 3 games for us. And the personal, and I think looking back, maybe this hurt him, but the personal vendetta against Cincinnati in the opener a couple of years ago, where he basically won that game and when he blocked the extra point.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a phenomenal performance and really hasn't done much since.
Right.
This is a good one from Edberg. Shazier would have been, if he had stayed healthy.
It's another one of my guys.
Yeah.
Kendrell Bell is a would have been.
Oh yeah.
Kendrell Bell was
absolutely.
Kendrell
he was a
Bell
monster.
He hit too hard. He hit himself right out of the league.
The guys who played with him said he's the hardest hitter they ever saw.
Yeah. That's a good call out. Lamar Woodley? Any consideration?
Maybe the greatest, and as much as I love LC, maybe the greatest postseason.
Yeah.
Guy in Steeler history. I think he averaged, Joe Starkey always talks about him as 1.5 sacks per game or something.
Wow. Lawrence Timmons?
He was more of a consistent guy. I don't know if you talk about him as greats.
Yeah. I'm thumbing through this list here that I'm Bud. Gotta have Bud there.
Bud Dupree.
I see Bob's head explode. Okay,
here's an interesting one, I think. I don't know if he's there, but Ryan Clark, do you throw his name in the ring anywhere?
He's pissed me off so much in his broadcasting career. I don't even want to consider him, but he was a pretty good, strong safety, free safety for a while.
As a player, I mean,
yeah.
He was an intimidator. I mean, he's part of that defense that really just beat the shit out of everybody and changed the league rules.
He was definitely a big part of that defense.
I thought he ended Wes Welker's life for a minute.
I was at that game.
Were you really?
We thought he killed him.
That was one of the hardest hits I've ever seen.
I was like, oh shit, he killed Wes Welker. Honest to God. The ball was, he should have been thrown out of the game. The ball was way past him. It was late. And he crushed him. He
You know,
had
you
enough
really-
of Wes Welker. Those little quick moves that he had enough.
You really think about it, Jason Gilden, who you mentioned before. The more you think about it, he probably really should be on this list somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to say he had the record for sacks for the Steelers for a while until he got passed over, right?
No,
Am I losing it?
LC had the record until Cam passed him.
LC's not on the list I'm looking at for sacks. They don't have him on here at all.
Yeah, well, part of that is because they didn't start counting sacks.
They didn't record
till the
them.
80s,
Yeah.
but they went back and retroed his sacks, and LC was the sack holder.
How much did they give? Do you know the total for him?
It's 83 or 84, something like that.
Okay. So, yeah, Gilden was at 77. James Harrison, 80.
I'm sorry, LC Greenwood was 78.
78. All right, so one more than Gilden.
Half a sack more than Joe Green. And then it's
Joe
a
Green.
pretty big drop off after those top six. Then Joey Porter is seventh with 60. He's 17 sacks behind.
Yeah, they kind of went through a just complete rotation of bringing guys in. They kind of figured out what that edge spot looked like in our 3-4, and we weren't really paying guys.
This list I'm looking at had Keith Willis as 59 sacks, like 8th or 9th all time for the Steelers.
Yeah, I
didn't think he had that many.
I will just say I know he was Trent's pick number 2, but to me, if you're going to be a great
We should talk about
Steelers
TJ.
defensive player, if you're going to be a Steelers great, you got to have a ring. You got to have a ring.
I don't hold that against him.
I do, because you and Cam Hayward are these big, great defensive. I'm sorry, you're not. Until you win something, yes, you're great players. You're probably Hall of Famers. I get it. You're going to be the sack leader by a lot. But you got to fucking win. Those got Lamb.
How many games did we win just because he was playing?
Yeah, Rod Woodson.
I mean, that Tomlin record would have been done a long time ago if TJ Watt wasn't on the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at his record. I mean, the record with him on the field versus off the field, it's insane. It's not even remotely close. I mean, you're talking about 70% winning percentage when he's on the field, and then he's off the field. There's 0% chance you're winning.
I chalk that up to more of a dumbass defensive game plan of, hey, TJ will figure out how to win it for us. And let's face it, we've heard this hinted at a lot, and Ben flat out said it. We just think our coaching philosophy is we just think our guys are better than your guys, so we don't need a plan. We're just going to beat them. And TJ Watt, to his credit, has been great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not a great player. I'm just saying when you talk Pantheon, he's not in Joe Green's class. He's just not. He's not in Lambert's class to me. He's not in Mel Blunt's class to me. Because those guys got 4 big shiny rings on their finger.
They all played on the same team too.
Yeah,
it helps.
Yeah,
along with a bunch of other.
Last I checked,
guys.
Cam Hayward and TJ Watt play on the same team.
You can't compare this team to the 70s teams. Well, come on.
Yeah, but you're basically talking about a 6-year span and then 2 random years and eliminating the entire rest of the history of the Steelers defenses.
I will die on this hill. The best defensive team to ever play was the 1976 Steelers, who did not win the Super Bowl. When all the offensive players got hurt and they were going for the three-peat, and the defense, 4 shutouts. The defense was ridiculous that season. I mean, I think they averaged giving up less than 6 points a game for the entire year. I mean, and the only reason they don't get mentioned, like
it was
the
9.
85 Bears, yeah. I mean, the only reason the 85 Bears and the Ravens teams get mentioned is because they did close the deal and win the Super Bowl.
I agree with that. I don't put, when you're talking about individual accolades, I don't take a team stat into it as much as the individual stuff. I think that's just how I'm rating it.
Yeah,
but I'm sorry.
You look at those guys. I mean, Mel Blunt. Even if you want to say Dion, he's no more than at worst top 3 corner ever in the league. Joe Green is the best defensive tackle. All due respect to Reggie White, I'll take Joe Green. You take Reggie White. Let's see what happens. Okay. I'm okay with my guy. And then a guy like Lambert, who I think is a top 5 middle linebacker of all time. Did they all play on the same field at the same time? But those guys, I don't care where you put those 3 guys, they would have been stars and Hall of Famers in any system. And
sure, but when you hold the Super Bowl, no Super Bowl against TJ, it's like he didn't get to play with all those stars.
No.
What if Terry Bradshaw wasn't there? Does these 70s teams win 4?
Yeah, they do, because in 70 in the first 2, Bradshaw was not a factor at all. Bradshaw, he's a little bit of a factor in 10. 9, he definitely was not a factor. You could maybe make the argument at 13 and 14 that without Terry, they don't win those Super Bowls. But 9 and 10, I don't care. Joe Gilliam would have won those Super Bowls. Mike Krzyzek could have won those Super Bowls.
But this argument that you're holding the Super Bowls against TJ.
It's not the Super Bowls. I'm holding a playoff victory. A playoff victory. Just one. Give me just one, and we can put him up there.
All right, I guess. I mean, because I was going to say Rod Woodson never won a Super Bowl with the Steelers. He's an all-time great.
Sure won some playoff games.
He did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't think he's a top 10 player. Look, bottom line is, if he even had a championship game appearance, I don't have any problem with him being in the top 5. But to me, I mean, he's no higher than 5th. I mean, there's 4 just landmark all-pro guys who, I mean, can you really put him above Troy? Really?
That's a tough one for me.
That's the argument. I mean, I think that one's an argument.
I had him 8th on my list. I had James Harrison and had him.
I think he would be.
I think James Harrison was a more dominant all-around player than TJ Watt.
See, I don't know. I just think the way that TJ is dominating all of our record books, I don't know how you keep him out of the top 5. With the playoff wins, all that stuff aside, like, this is a passing league. We know what the area he's playing in right now. He's had nothing but one bum quarterback after another going into these playoffs. What's he supposed to do? He can't.
Yeah, I don't.
Outside of catching the other team's passes and running them back for a touchdown, what the hell is he supposed to do?
Which he started doing that Kansas City game. He was pretty much carrying them at that point.
Okay, but 17, he was in that Jaguars game, 45-42.
Was he a rookie that year?
He was still the starter.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have been, but that's his rookie. You can't hold that one against him.
Okay, so the defense has given up in his starts.
I know.
40 points multiple times. I mean, they haven't even been close. Yeah.
That's not on him, though, Bob. That's on Mike Tomlin. That's on Mike Tomlin.
He's on the team.
I know.
But he's got to have 10 other guys supporting him in that team, though.
He's got to have a coach calling the plays and the offense not turning the ball over. And
yeah, so it's not Cam's fault. It's not TJ's fault. It's not Minka's fault. It's not. I mean, it's nobody's fucking fault, but they get blown out every playoff game.
How many playoff sacks does TJ Watt have? Does anybody know?
I think just
it's actually not a lot. Yeah, it's very minimal.
Again, you get better coaches in the playoffs that know how to minimize him, and you don't have your coach who can counteract that.
I mean, I get it, but it's kind of it's a participation trophy. Yay, you got the sack record. Good job.
Oh, come on, Bob. That's ridiculous. Come on.
You can't win a game when it matters.
That's not participation.
You got 22 and a half sacks in 16 games, or 17 games. That was the first year of the 17 games, I think.
He should have the record outright. That was a sack, and they just did it to keep Strahan in the book.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree with that.
That's one thing we can all agree on. Steelers Blitz tells us 1 playoff sack for Watt and 8 tackles. Career. Not great.
Yeah, I mean, that's a black eye on his resume.
And he's 0-5, 0-6.
Yeah, I think that's to me that the record goes directly on Tomlin.
That's my biggest problem with people with Cam Hayward. Look, has he been a Hall of Fame defensive tackle? Yeah, I agree. But as a leader, he's won one playoff game in his career. One. And he was at the height of the Killer Bees era. You didn't have to do too much on that defense for the Killer Bees to win those games. And you couldn't get it done.
That Jacksonville game is definitely on him and Tuitt and the entire defense, honestly.
A little bit on Ben. He started slow. He threw a couple of picks. I get it. But, one thing, look, Ben's first Super Bowl in that run, they were down 14-0 in Cincinnati. It looked like, oh, my God, we're going to get blown out by the Bengals. And it wasn't huge, but that little drive where he drives them back down, he gets a
Didn't Carson
field
Palmer
goal.
get hurt in that game? Was that the one Carson Palmer got hurt in?
Yes.
That saved them more than anything else. Let's be honest.
The field goal, the long drive to field goal, let the defense rest 14-3. They come back out that next series. Timo accidentally.
No, it wasn't.
Fell on Carson Palmer's leg.
I think Trent's right, though. If they don't draft TJ Watt, Mike Tomlin might not be the head coach right now. He might have been fired a couple years ago.
That's an even better reason not to have him in the top 5.
Because he has relied almost solely on TJ Watt in the regular season to bail him out.
It really has.
Time and time again.
Even in the postseason, we started going through like the Killer Bees list. How many turnovers did this team offensively have? And the defense had to run right back out on the field. We've done that in the playoffs time and time again. The defense is definitely to blame, but the offense either doesn't move or turns the ball over every playoff game, and it's tough to overcome.
You look at the Cleveland game, and I think somebody was I heard this on the radio. Somebody talking to a Steeler player, and maybe it was one of these Ham Lambert guys, but an older Steeler player. It's like, look, just because Pouncey snapped the ball over Ben's head doesn't mean you have to give up a touchdown. What, we can't hold him to a field goal? And they did. The defense was just like, sure, score touchdown. And then Ben goes and says, okay, fuck it. I'm down 28-0. Let's make this a game. And then once I make it a game and we got a chance to win, defense. No, Ben. Now we'll let him march it down 90 yards and score.
This defense has been a problem. For a while. In the playoffs especially. They've been let down time and time again.
Yeah.
It's not the 70s Steelers. It's not even the 90s and 2000 Steelers. This has been bad for a little while.
Go ahead.
All I was going to say, which is the sad part about it, is that we have got to come to the realization, especially as older Steeler fans, that defense doesn't win championships anymore. They can say it. They make a nice little thing about it, but defense doesn't win anymore. It just doesn't.
I was going to say, I think this kind of really, when you talk about Tomlin and the lore of Tomlin's coaching ability, I think that's where you start to see the deficiencies in him as a coach is in the playoffs. He gets out-coached every single game in the playoffs. Everyone knows what he's doing. Everybody knows he's never going to adjust, and they just pick us apart every time. It never fails. This has been going on for years. So I think that's just talk about black eyes on TJ. That's a big black eye for Mike Tomlin too. He gets out-coached every game.
To me, it's squarely on him.
Tomlin has won a playoff game in 4 seasons. 4. Out of 18 years as a coach. He's going to break Chuck Noll's record, and there's a lot made out of those Super Bowl that he got to early in his career, and then the second one where he lost. Everybody talked. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. 15 years ago. Am I going to dig up Bill Walsh because he won 4 and let him be my coach? Come on. Bill Parcells won 2 Super Bowls. And then you watched how that worked out the rest of his career when all of a sudden, I want to shop for the grocery. He built a couple nice teams, certainly had a couple nice coaching staffs. He won fuck all with the Cowboys and the Jets.
Yeah, but I don't think Tomlin's on his level.
No,
Parcells
he's not even close to his level.
No, it's a whole different. Parcells is a great coach.
Well, one thing I'll say about Parcells, he was a great CEO coach because
Yeah.
who was running his defense? Bill Belichick.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Who was
Yeah.
running his offense? Tom Coughlin. Those guys got some Super Bowls between them.
Well, he knew he was the motivator. He was the CEO, like you said, and he accepted that role and hired good coordinator. I've said this 1,000 times about Tomlin. If he would have done that, he would have won multiple Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Being in New England, Bill Parcells saved the franchise. They were going to move to St. Louis.
Right.
They were going to move to St. Louis. They were this close. And then Kraft bought the team and Parcells coached it and gave them some legitimacy. And from then on in, it's been a nightmare ever since. But this team was on the verge. They were really close to moving to St. Louis. It was almost over.
Yeah.
Until Parcells took over.
Hey, we could even maybe save this for another show, but real quick, I heard a very interesting argument on the radio this week about Bill Belichick and should he go into the Hall of Fame. And it was in the context of the Barry Bonds argument, which makes it interesting to me. If you hold Bonds out as a cheater, don't you have to hold Belichick out? It's two different Hall of Fames.
Yeah. Belichick's got to be in the Hall of Fame. Just for his defensive coordinator alone, he could go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's got to be in.
And that kind of the argument of, hey, Bonds would have been a Hall of Famer because of his time with the Pirates and the Giants before the steroids.
Yeah.
I mean, bottom line is you cheated. You're a cheater.
Yeah.
I don't even agree with the Barry Bonds argument because everybody in that goddamn entire decade was cheating. The whole league was on steroids.
Yeah, everybody was.
They just made a documentary out of it with Barry Bonds because the guy who was helping him got caught.
Yeah, but Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, those guys ain't never getting in. I would. Sosa has
eventually. They'll get it eventually. Bonds eventually.
Maybe.
I talked to a guy that I played against who pitched in the Pirates AAA organization for a long time. He flat said they would tell these guys, if you won in the league, you better start juicing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you got there, and that's how you worked there.
I have no doubt, but Sheffield guys who I thought were really, really good. I mean, and Dorn Dickerson made this point that, hey, just because you're strong and can recover fast doesn't mean you can hit the ball. It does allow you to recover, though. I mean, there's
no doubt about it.
Sure.
And you can kill Bill Belichick for the cheating, and he did. He definitely did.
And
but he was still the smartest guy in the league his entire time that he was the coach. He was still the best coach in the league anyway, aside from the cheating.
Well, let me ask you a question, though. If he doesn't cheat to beat the Steelers to get to the Super Bowl, and who knows what would have happened to Cordell's career if he'd actually pulled that Super Bowl off, and he doesn't cheat to beat the Rams. He lost in the championship game. Does Tom Brady even happen? And does he have the juice to get away from Bledsoe and go to Brady? Does that whole era even happen if he doesn't cheat? I don't think it does.
I mean, he didn't have success in Cleveland. He did a little bit, but not to the extent he did in New England.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. But still, to me, you watch some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. He was doing things that no other coach was doing, thinking of things no other coach was thinking of. The guy was a savant.
Like videotaping the practices.
Well, that too. I'm not going to believe me. I'm not here to defend everything. Bill Belichick for sure. But yeah, he could.
I mean, he was the only guy in the NFL who could figure out the Buffalo Bills offense.
Yeah.
I mean, he was it. That was the only guy who figured it out and won a Super Bowl off that. He was a coordinator, of course, but
And by the
did
way,
that for a long time.
I'd extend this out to Brady as well. Bottom line is Brady cheated. He didn't cheat the whole time, but he did cheat. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to let him in, you got to let them all in. And if you're going to hold them out, you got to hold them all out. So
how did Brady cheat? You talk about the deflated balls?
Deflategate?
Well, not only Deflategate, who benefited from Belichick?
Well, yeah.
You don't think he was sitting in the room going, hey, man,
he's
here's the
complicit in that.
videotape of their practice.
The deflated balls thing, I think, was kind of stupid. But yeah, you're right. On the other thing, you're right.
Yeah, and the whole team cheated as far as I'm concerned. So, hey, look, if you get any advantage you can, okay, it's gamesmanship. It ain't fucking gamesmanship if the league destroyed all the evidence and said, "Oh, nothing to see here."
I can't believe they did that. To this day, I can't believe they did that.
It's because they knew how bad it was.
Bob, I know some Michigan people that are going to be really pissed at you if they hear this interview.
Oh, and by the way, that whole thing kicked. Why are they in Division I football at this point? They should get a death penalty.
That's another guy that bends the rules.
Jim
Harbaugh.
Jim
Yeah,
Harbaugh.
Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of his name there. He'll take it to the line and maybe step over occasionally.
Yeah.
These guys are driven, dude. They want to win so bad, and they're willing to cheat sometimes.
He'll step over with hip waders on about a waist deep in the muddy waters.
Yeah,
I think it was Johnny Bench who said like about the whole steroid baseball cheating era. Look, maybe we're going to hold these guys out of the Hall of Fame. Maybe their legacies are tarnished. You know what? They got hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. Oops, they could build their own statue and open their own museum.
Truth.
I would let Bonds in. I would let a few of the Sosa's. I don't think so. Sosa was all steroid driven.
Sosa had the most 60 home run seasons in the history.
I know,
of baseball.
but he didn't have the talent that Bonds had.
I think he was a better defensive player for sure. Sosa was, and he batted 300 a bunch of times. I mean, he gets a bad rap because of the steroids. He really does.
Says all teams cheat. I don't know about that. They just got caught. They were brazen about it. The Patriots were definitely over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw I think you guys have seen it. One of the Broncos players talking about the offensive coordinator that coached the Broncos for a little while. His first season, they were cheating he was just admitting it. He's like, we knew every play that the offenses were going to run against us before they ran it. And then he got caught. They couldn't cheat anymore, and they lost 6 games in a row after that because they weren't finding out the play. It was like that whole thing was dirty.
Yep.
The Patriots were. You can't deny that whole thing was dirty.
The only thing I will say about the Michigan thing, because it was the sign stealing, and in baseball, it's frowned upon, but it's part of it. You're good with it as long as you don't do what the Astros did. At least with that, I can kind of see, okay, if you know they're stealing signs and you suspect they're stealing signs, why would you report it? Why, if you were not Ohio State, would you go, hey, man, they're going to steal our signals. So guess what? This is what our signals really mean now, but we're going to use the same ones. And I mean, that I could at least, okay, maybe. I still think no, as far as I'm concerned, give them the death penalty. But I mean, I would have confused the crap out of them. You want to steal my signs, and I know about it, and I suspect it. Oh yeah. This means pass. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, drop 9 guys into coverage. Watch what happens when we run the fullback up the middle.
It's tough though if you don't know for sure, and you're gonna change all your signals on a hunch, or I'm sure that's not easy.
You get like 100 kids on the same page.
Yeah,
college is not like 53. There's like 100 kids on the team.
They can only dress 60 though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still gotta coach and practice with the 100. It can't be easy. All right, we're going pretty long here. Anything else before we get out of here? Don't forget about Ultra GM. Guys, sign up. We've got a few spots. We're trying to fill those spots out. Put your money where your mouth is, boys. Everyone's an expert. Let's see. We're going to do a podcast around this. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. Sign up. Use Steelers Sanctuary 25 promo code. Get yourself $5 off. Like and subscribe. Guys in the chat, as always, great. Monday will be our next podcast. We'll be back on Monday, Thursday schedule. As always, thanks for listening to Steel Sanctuary Podcast. Have a good night, guys.
That's all the shit I'm gonna get, motherfucker.
Excuse me. Thank you.
What am I supposed to do?
You are embarrassing yourself here, lads.
Saw that coming.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. Okay, I'll play. You got me.